This is chess, and this is Chess 2.0. Are you bored of playing the same game over and over? We are going to change all the pieces to be unique and add a new ability and piece at the end. Chapter 1. Board. First, we have to change the board. This board is too boring and small. Let's add one square to every side and make it 10 LX 10. Chapter 2. Pieces need to go on this board, so we will change every single piece to become a new one and add a new piece at the end. First, the pawn. The pawn is very boring. What is not boring is a shrimp. The shrimp has a claw that can flick. The new ability is that it can attack forwards. If a piece is in front of the shrimp, it can flick the piece back 2 squares and stun it, so it can't move for the next move. If there is a piece behind the 2 squares, it kills them. The pawn also attacks up to 2 squares sideways. I need to draw this. The knight. The knight is missing a thing that all knights have: a shield. This grants them an extra life. If a piece tries to kill a knight with a shield on, the piece gets stunned in front of it. But the knight's horse dies because of the attack, so it becomes a shrimp. This would make some crazy interactions. Let me draw the knight. The bishop. The bishop is a high-ranking member of the Christian clergy. So with the power of God, the bishop can move next to a piece, or if the piece moves to the bishop, it can upgrade it to a better piece. So a pawn to a knight or a bishop. You can choose a bishop to a rook to a queen. But if God can upgrade, God can also curse. If a bishop goes up to an opponent's piece, it can curse it. The piece that is cursed, it only can move half of the squares if could have gone for 2 rounds. The bishop also can only curse or upgrade 3 times. I just need it to make it look like God. The rook. The rook moves like a king and a rook at the same time. This allows it to stop getting trapped. The rook, it like a defensive piece, like a fortress, so why not make it a huge unit? Each time the rook moves, it adds some energy to this bar. After 8 moves, it fills up and activates his power. This power is that his next move, wherever he goes, the row and the bar is protected, so that any piece in it cannot be taken. This can also stop checks. The queen. Since the queen is always too OP, the queen would have 2 square shorter range. But to make up for that, the queen can transform into any piece for 3 moves, but this can only be used 3 times in a game. The queen can even transform into a king. Iowa. It's 2024, guys. The king is always scared and the worst piece in the game. So I had to make some special abilities. The king moves an extra 2 squares, so it can jump over a square. But since the king can't take any piece when the opponent is defending it, so I added a gun. The king only has 3 bullets, and can shoot any piece in his capturing range without moving to the spot. The king can also revive allies. When a piece is received, it can be placed anywhere around the king. But the piece will only last 2 moves, so like a zombie. Since the king is like a knight, I will draw it like a knight. The new piece! The new piece is the ghost. It can move to the second tile in any direction, up, down, left, right, or diagonally. Similar to how a knight moves. The ghost can pass through any piece, including friendly and opponent, without being blocked. However, when it reaches the second square, it can capture any piece occupying that square, removing it from the board. This ability applies to both friendly and enemy pieces. When the ghost passes through an opposition piece, it can haunt it. This makes it when the piece can move 1 less square than it could have. Chapter 3. We are going to add some spells to the game. Just like spell chess on chess.com. There are 5 spells you can get, but you can only use 3 spells in-game. These spells can also only be used once. The first spell is Decoy. This allows you to make a decoy move and make your actual move invisible to the opponent. But you cannot make any checks and captures. The second spell is True Knight. This spell can turn any piece into a knight for 1 turn. The third spell is called New Recruit. This allows you to add a pawn anywhere you want on your side of the board. The fourth spell is called Swapster. This allows you to swap pieces position from your opponent to your own piece, like the white queen swaps position with the black queen. But you cannot use this on the king. Lastly, the fifth spell, Bouncer, allows you to bounce off your own piece or the side of the board, but only get 2 squares you can move after the bounce. Wow, that's it. That has gone past quickly. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing for better content.